Speaking of the Browns, we're going to bring on another guest, and I love this guy. Great ESPN personality, and I love that he's hopping on with us now because I've known him prior to his ESPN days, back when we were NFL Network colleagues. With no further ado, former Bengal, former Brown, Mr. Andrew Hawkins. What's up, Hawkins? Oh, he's got the Slapshot jersey on. Yes, the Hanson brothers.
What kind of camera you
got a rap.
Go on.
Johnstown, Pennsylvania native. Pennsylvania Schrager.
I didn't know you were from Johnstown.
I didn't know that you're
from
Johnstown,
baby.
UPJ.
Central PA Yinzer.
I visited UPJ a few times.
Yeah.
It's a dry campus,
I
but
love that.
other than that, it was great.
Dry campus, is that right?
UPJ.
UPJ?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pitch
Don't do my child like that, man. It's a fun time.
That's it. Hawk, I love you, man. I love you joining the show. One of my favorite guys. I go to Cleveland when I think of you because you spent all those years there, and you grew up in Ohio, obviously, when you were not, I guess you grew up in Pennsylvania, but you always were around that Browns team. What do you make of Flacco being the starter and then Shedeur now being fourth on the depth chart?
Look, it's a process, man. I think they named Flacco the starter because it quieted the noise, and that's also helpful for Dillon and Shedeur as they keep battling. I mean, look, the reality is, yes, we see what Shedeur is capable of. And I would say if you go back to the draft and you redrafted it, I think everybody would agree that Shedeur would go way higher than what he did in the fifth, based on what he's shown so far. But that being said, he's still a fifth-round pick. And there's certain things that come with that. You got to work and you got to grind, and it's not going to be handed to you. And I don't think the Browns bought him in to what some people say are sabotaging him, but he's going to have to go earn it, and he's going to have to go take jobs. And that is the position that he's in, which is a new position for him. But so far, so good. If you're asking me what my opinion is,
does it feel like same old Browns, or does it feel like they're actually like they have a plan here? Andrew Berry, we trust. Stefanski's a former coach of the year, we trust. Like, let's give them the benefit of the doubt here.
Yeah, I think so. I think they have a plan. I think they got more than what they bargained for with both of those quarterbacks. Like Shedeur, again, that was like the talk of the week whenever he started his game and he performed the way that he did. But I would even say the same thing about Dillon Gabriel. Like, Dillon Gabriel is undersized, but if you look at some of that ball placement, it's like next level, especially for your first NFL game. And that's the special part about both of them. So I think they got more than what they bargained for there. I think they also get Isaiah Bond as an undrafted free agent, which is crazy because he's essentially a first-round talent there. You mix that with some of the other draft picks, and they're starting to build this stable around him, right? So if, depending on what Flacco does, which I feel like you know what Flacco's feeling is, like I'm not expecting Flacco to come out here and light it up, and I don't think the Browns are expecting Flacco to have a career year. If you want to know what Flacco's going to do, take his 17 seasons, average it out, and that's probably what you should expect with the Browns, right? And if some of these young guys can continue to mature, show something special in the third preseason game, continue to develop throughout the season, maybe early in those weeks, and they feel like, yo, we're looking at a ceiling here that's a lot higher than what Flacco is showing us at the moment, that's when you might have fireworks.
Hawk, what year did you come out of college?
2008 draft would have been my draft.
2008 draft. Pre-social media, pre-TikTok, pre-all this stuff. Who would have been the player that you think would have been the biggest social media superstar back from when you were coming out of college if they had really been in this era today?
Good question. The biggest social media star from that era. You mean like that was coming out of college when I was?
Yeah, the guys. Like, who are the guys that you think if you dropped them into 2025 would have the podcast, would have the Instagram following, would have the State Farm ad with Jake, whatever?
Darius Butler.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good
Corner at
answer.
UConn.
I take that.
Elite athlete, personality that people didn't even realize was there because he was just a DB that just went to work.
Yeah,
social media in that day and age? Come on, man.
That's
Forget about
my
it, bro.
guy right there.
No doubt. I ask you these questions
yeah.
because I always think of you as so much more as just football. Because when you were done with football, or while you were even doing football, you were at Columbia getting a master's degree. And then you got this amazing company coming up. And I want you to explain to the viewers the virtual reality company that you did create and that you did usher in, and how people are actually using it. And I'm going to bring up something else that Boston Connor and I are going to discuss with you. But talk about your virtual reality project and kind of how you broke off and did something different than just being ex-player talking ball.
I appreciate that, man. I think we, as football players and even as analysts, man, we love this game. And for me, growing up in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, which is football country, everybody are Steelers fans in Johnstown. And I'm like, this is my life's work. Since I've been 6 years old, all I've ever wanted to do was football, and I didn't want that to end when I was done playing. And so I've tried to always do things off the field, whether it's in business, whether it's in technology, that affects the game and that are things that I want to see out in the world. So Status Pro is created by me and my co-founder, Troy Jones, who also played quarterback in college at Maryland and Western Kentucky. And we're able to recreate what you see on the field in a simulation to give a viewer a better view of what it's like to be the player. And we have a video game, besides the media product, which is the visualizer on ESPN. We have NFL Pro Air, the video game, and we have the best offensive coordinator voice that
Hell yeah.
money can buy.
Hell yeah.
You know, and when I thought to myself, what is a distinct voice that the people will always remember, that'll make the people feel something?
Hell yeah.
We got one Darius Butler.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Give it up.
Hell yeah, Hawk.
Give it
That's why I love you. Hey, but speaking, you know what? I'm gonna pivot a little bit. Speaking, you just got my mind going. Offensive voices, and I remember as a lifetime Dolphin fan, it was one guy that put his neck out, that stood on the pedestal for Mike McDaniel, and it was you. You called him a genius. You called him a football savant. And now going into this season, for a lot of people, it seems like he may be coaching, you know, for his job, him and Chris Greer. What's your outlook on the Miami Dolphins and Mike McDaniel as a head coach? How do you see them kind of taking that next step, just showing us as Dolphins some promise?
I look at it like a contract year. Like, imagine with the players that we watch or we talk about, and it's like, man, this guy has to get us to his potential. We see it there. We've seen it in spurts. We see him have success. And then in that contract year, it kind of all comes together because the money's on the line. That's the situation I think Mike McDaniel is in. And I actually think the Dolphins will be a lot better than people suspect them to be. And the reason why I was such an advocate for Mike McDaniel is because when you're in this football game, we all, you know, hear the same things over and over again, especially as players, because it's a lot of regurgitated information that is passed down from the coaches that were talking about it in 1950 to the coaches that are talking about it in 2025, which is good and okay. But when I was with Mike McDaniel and the Kyle Shanahans, you know, and obviously they come from the McVay, you know, tree as well. It's like, these are guys that innovated the game. I heard things that I had never heard in the game of football at 28 years old. And me being a student, I'm like, man, this is crazy. And then I would see it in practice, or I would see it in the games, and I would see it put, you know, to test, and it would work to an entirely different level. And so that was what was always special about Mike McDaniel, is that if you're looking for a ball knower, there is nobody better than him, because he's like a mad scientist. Now the question becomes, can you get your players to live up to that expectation and to play their best? And that'll be the biggest key for him. I think when you look at that team this year, there's a little less star power, right? They've moved the pieces around, and the hope is that it'll be addition by subtraction, because everybody will be pushing on the same page and the same accord.
Hawk, who was on that squad? Because I remember Brian Hoyer and Manziel were the quarterbacks. You had Josh Gordon on that squad?
JG was on that squad too. He was suspended for a number of games.
What?
Miles Austin was on that squad. And I'll say this about Miles Austin. In my entire career, there was never a player that I pegged wrong more than Miles Austin. This is like when I came to Cleveland, he was dating Kim Kardashian, the Cowboys, and I'm like, man, here we go with this, dude. You talking about my favorite teammate of all time? Like, maybe even my favorite person of all time.
The pride of Monmouth.
That's my Mike Austin story.
I love that. And then Kyle Shanahan's the offensive coordinator. Mike McDaniel's is what? Mike McDaniel's the wide receivers coach?
Receiver coach, yep.
Okay. Who else? Pettin's the head coach?
Mike
Pettin was the head coach.
Oh,
One of the best.
jeez.
Hafney was the DB coach at that time. Who else? We had some. It was a wild time in Cleveland at that. The Johnny Manziel experience. Johnny's my guy. Like, I want to say that sincerely and truly.
However,
but that was a movie-like year though for us. It was kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie about that.
No, we love Johnny too. I that year you guys started off, I'm not mistaken, you guys were like 6-4. Brian Hoyer beats Tennessee, big comeback, and then it all fell apart.
You're
gonna pull these scabs off, aren't you?
I'm sorry.
That's what you're doing right now.
I remember.
You want to open these wounds up for all of America. Yes, we started off 7-4. So here's my thing. I was with Cincinnati the 3 years prior, and I grew up a Bengals fan because my brother played for them when I was a little kid. So I'm playing for my childhood team, right? And I go to the Browns, which is still in Ohio, and I'm like, cool, I'm staying in the state. Everyone thinks when they go to the team, you're going to be the catalyst to turn this thing around, right? So here we are. We're 7-4. I'm the leading receiver. I'm a number one receiver. All 5'7" of me. Never in my wildest dreams that I think I would lead an NFL team in receiving. And I'm killing it. The coach calls me. We're 7-4. He's like, hey, I think we're going to put Johnny Manziel in. And I start laughing because I think he's joking, right? Because if you talk to Johnny, Johnny's like, I wasn't trying to play. I wasn't ready to play. He was not joking. Within 2 games, we put Johnny in. Hoyer, he had some tough games that made it a little easier of a transition, and we end up losing the rest of those games. And I'm sure Johnny is like, if I had a better number 1 receiver, I'm sure I would have did a lot better. But we did not go to the playoffs, and I was not the catalyst to turn the Cleveland Browns around, Drake. That's the end of the story.
Boston Connor, you were talking before the show that Microsoft is a new AI deal. Let's talk
Hawk. I mean, you graduated from Columbia, so you're probably the biggest brain we're going to have on here in quite some time. So I'm going to ask this question for you specifically, especially with all your VR experience. But AI and Microsoft are partnering basically to increase the insights from coaches to players, from the sideline to helmet. What the hell is going on? Are the AIs going to be telling these coaches where the quarterbacks need to be looking based on some sort of future mathematic problem that none of us are going to be able to know except for the AIs? Or is this something that's just going to make these offenses even more ridiculously good as they are now?
The short answer, yes. It is probably going to change football. I don't know how quickly it's going to change football, though, because you got to realize this, and I always say this about sports technology and its implementation in the NFL, is that most of the coaches that are there would rather use a lucky pair of draws than they would any data, because that's just the world we live in. We go off of gut feelings. So basically what AI has the capabilities and will have the capabilities to do is, instead of having to search all week for those football brains that can find those tendencies to say, hey, this receiver is playing with his gloves before every pass play, or, I noticed that left tackle, he's like a little more weighted back, or his knuckles are a little white, which tells me it's a run. AI will be able to do all of that in real time. And it will also say that, hey, Coach Boston Connor has been coaching for 10 years, and every time they're plus 45 and a 3rd and 10 down by a touchdown, he runs this defense. So this is what you should be prepared for. And they'll be able to have that recall and that baseline database to essentially be able to tell you exactly what's going to happen, because we're still human, and every time the bullets are flying, we're going to go back to what we know.
So this is interesting. So for the last 15 years, all we've heard about it's like the rise of analytics and how everyone's hiring these kids from Harvard and these stats guys, and every team's got the old play with your coach with your gut coach isn't in danger. I almost feel like AI is going to eliminate that whole class of the Harvard grad who does the math, because we could just pop it into the thing and get the same answer.
Pretty much. I mean, but that's across the board. Even the gut coach, right? Like Bill Belichick is always like, obviously doesn't say much. He eyeballs certain things, but his brain works like a computer. So just because he is not a data scientist, he doesn't use analytics any less than the analytics guy that came from Harvard. Yep. He just inherently has it in his system. And I think a lot of the good football coaches that you talk about in this way are like that. Again, they're not data scientists, but their brain kind of thinks in patterns and recall, and they can see it, and there's indicators for them. Well, now it's essentially going to even the playing field. My question is that what we want? Yeah. Don't we want the gut feeling? Don't we want,
subjectivity?
100%.
The kid's 5'7", but there's just something about him, Schrager. You understand what I'm saying?
I want the 5'7" wide receiver. I want a coach who can call over Johnny Manziel to the sideline, pretend like he's whispering to him, and then you get that fake play. I want that.
Hell yeah.
I can't get that from AI.
Those guys, they'll always be there. They'll never die off.
I hope so.
I don't want the robot.
And to Hawk's point,
football.
Belichick kind of,
what do you think
and Ernie Adams were kind of that guy. 4th and 2 game, my rookie year. Going forward on 4th and 2,
Colts.
that was analytics. Everybody would do that now, but that was 2009.
What, with the Kevin Falk pass?
Yeah.
Kevin Falk, off this like that, and he got killed in the media after that. Yeah. His first thing to us was like, look, I'm always going to make the best decision I feel like is best for the team, and I'm not going to play scared. That's how I felt the game was going. And as a defender, that second half we couldn't stop Peyton. He figured us out. He figured out what was going on. He found the matchups, and it made sense. If you have a chance with Tom Brady, Wes Welker, Randy Moss, Kevin Falk to get a first down to basically win the game, you take that chance.
And that's maybe where I have an issue, because everyone has access to the AI. We might not have the Microsoft Copilot, hello, our corporate sponsors, but we do have, whatever. You can type in anything, and they will say 3rd and 10, this is what you should do. So everyone thinks they have the answer, but then you actually have to play football. Until the Boston Dynamic robot comes in and knocks us on our ass, there's actual players.
They don't have a chance.
Yeah, they're not allowed.
Yeah, they don't have the
They don't have the heart.
Lateral
Bingo.
quickness.
They don't have the heart.
There you go.
Lateral quickness, peripheral vision.
Yep.
You can't measure the
Lot of
heart of
weakness.
it.
Can they put cleats on? No.
Can't
No,
measure the
they
heart of
play.
a 350-pound offensive lineman that has a 27-inch arms out of Penn State University. You know?
I'm scared of these robots, though, bro. I think they.
You should be. You should be
they
terrified of them.
You know,
Well,
like,
you should be more scared of the AI. See, that's the real problem. That's why I'm
everyone.
nervous.
The shiny object's the robot.
Yeah, it's AI. With
AI
the
we
robot.
let in.
Yes.
No, I mean we're talking.
The AI
you
is
get
the heart.
You get the AI.
The AI is the heart.
Yeah, in the brain or the heart of
the
these
heart of the
robots.
robot.
You
Man.
equip this thing with a machine gun. Yeah, then we got problems.
Gotta-
You ever seen Terminator? Yeah.
iRobot.
Yeah.
I did not kill him.
Yeah, right.
iRobot. I thought he was wrongly accused.
He was.
I watched iRobot last week with my kids.
Why?
And there was like
It was on.
because I wanted to see, man. I'm
was
like,
on.
all right,
Great movie.
maybe
Watch
maybe
the
this
film.
is the scouting report.
Yep.
I got to see what's going on. And so they have like a scan to pay, and there's like they like zoom in on him scanning to pay, like it was so futuristic. And my kids were like, why would they zoom in on that shot for Apple Pay? And I'm like, well, it wasn't no Apple Pay back then, and there wasn't FaceTime. There was no Siri, but they're like, this is the dumbest movie I've ever seen.
Just 'cause they didn't have it.
Because it's
Self-driving cars.
worse than the technology we have now.
It's crazy, man.
I know. I was watching, like, I forget what it was. It might have been Sopranos or Seinfeld or something, and like they didn't have a cell phone. So like I'm like, well, no, you just call them on the phone. Oh, they don't have one of those. So like they're in a pay phone. I'm like, this makes no sense. But
crazy.
that's what it was.
Those are the
Better
days, man.
times.
Better
Those are the
times before the robots.
Sound really old right now.
Yeah, we are.
Hawk, I appreciate you. We appreciate you. Awesome job on the show, man. We'll be seeing you soon. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.